Derek Stone was once a man known for his hearty laughter and jovial nature. At 44, his robust frame had always been his signature, even if it came at a cost. Over the years, his weight had crept up steadily, and when his doctor warned him about the impending risk of heart disease, his wife, Monica Reed, an accomplished 38-year-old nutritionist, demanded a drastic change. "Derek, I'm scared," Monica pleaded one chilly October morning as they sat at their mahogany kitchen table in the quiet suburb of Glenhaven. Her voice trembled with genuine concern. "I can't bear the thought of losing you. We need you healthy, for our future." Reluctantly, Derek embarked on a strict regimen. Monica, whose professional life revolved around wellness, set up every minute of his day, rigid meal plans, intensive workouts, and a near-daily check-in on his progress. At first, Derek felt like he was merely a project, a man to be fixed. But as the weeks turned into months, the results were undeniable. His clothes grew looser, his energy surged, and even the mirror started to reflect a healthier version of him. Yet beneath the surface of transformation lay a bitter undercurrent. Monica's enthusiasm, once warm and nurturing, became conditional. Intimacy was now reserved for select occasions, a symbolic reward for every pound shed. Only on New Year's, our anniversary, and your birthday, she would declare with an icy finality. Her insistence left Derek feeling both objectified and unfulfilled. Despite his physical transformation and the occasional praise from friends at the local gym, Derek's heart was heavy. His marriage, once a sanctuary of mutual respect and love, had become a battlefield of unmet expectations. Late at night, lying awake in their expansive, modern home, he'd replay Monica's words in his mind, wondering if the man he had become was truly the partner she desired. It was a brisk winter evening when the first crack appeared in their fragile union. After a particularly grueling workout session, Derek returned home drenched in sweat and hopeful for a quiet dinner. Instead, he found Monica waiting in the living room, her eyes distant and unreadable. "Derek," she began slowly, I think we need a break." Her voice was soft but laced with a firmness that left no room for debate. Taken aback, Derek's mind raced. "A break? Monica, what are you saying?" he stammered, searching her face for any sign of the compassionate woman he once knew. Monica's lips trembled. "I'm sorry. I need to be with someone who understands me, who isn't constantly reminding me of what I'm supposed to be." The statement cut him to the core. Was the price of his transformation not worth the love they'd shared? For the next few days, the atmosphere in their home was suffused with an unsettling quiet. Derek tried to reach out to Monica, sending gentle texts and leaving heartfelt notes, but every attempt was met with silence or curt replies. It was during one of these lonely nights that Derek's suspicions began to take shape. A half-forgotten memory surfaced, a time when Monica had been oddly secretive about her phone calls. Could it be that her demands for his health were merely a convenient distraction from a darker reality? Determined to understand the truth, Derek covertly began to examine their shared devices. One evening, after Monica had retired early, he retrieved their jointly held phone records from the online portal. His eyes widened as he noticed a pattern: frequent calls to two numbers, one associated with a boutique gym in a neighboring city and another that remained stubbornly unlisted. Over the span of 18 months, these calls had become regular, almost ritualistic, each one punctuating Wednesday mornings and Friday afternoons. Derek's mind churned with a mix of disbelief and dread. Had Monica been communicating with someone behind his back? The more he pieced together, the more his heart pounded with a growing sense of betrayal. Yet, even as anger and hurt welled up within him, a small voice urged caution. He needed concrete evidence before confronting the woman he still loved. Over the next several weeks, Derek's investigation deepened. He decided to install discrete recording devices around the house, small, nearly invisible bugs that would capture any conversation that might reveal the truth. Every evening, as Monica returned from her supposed errands, Derek would watch her closely, scrutinizing her interactions and the tone of her responses. One evening, while sipping a bitter cup of black coffee in his study, he overheard Monica speaking softly on the phone. The conversation, muffled but unmistakably intimate, mentioned plans to meet someone at a high-end spa downtown. Derek's heart sank as he listened to her words. "I can't wait to see him, it's been too long," the voice on the other end responded with a playful laugh. That was the moment Derek knew he could no longer ignore the evidence. Armed with recordings and detailed call logs, Derek confronted Monica the next morning. "Monica, I need the truth," he demanded, his voice shaking with a cocktail of anger and despair. "Who is this person you've been meeting, and why have you hidden everything from me?" Monica's eyes filled with tears, and for a moment, the woman before him was unrecognizable, a mosaic of guilt, fear, and sorrow. "I never meant to hurt you, Derek," she whispered. I started talking to Calvin months ago. He's my confidant, my escape. When you became obsessed with your weight and our routines, I felt invisible. I needed someone who saw me, who made me feel desired." The revelation struck Derek like a thunderbolt. Calvin, who was only 32, a charming personal trainer with an easy smile and effortless charisma, had become the focal point of Monica's secret world. The weight of her betrayal, layered on top of the emotional manipulation that had defined their relationship, was almost too much to bear. "Is this why you've conditioned our intimacy?" Derek's voice cracked with a mix of sorrow and fury. "So that I'd never be enough for you? That I'm just a project you can control?" Monica sobbed, her shoulders shaking. "I was scared, Derek. I was scared of losing you, so I thought if I could keep you focused on changing, you'd never see what I was doing. But I was wrong, I never meant to hurt you. I thought I was making things better, for both of us." But Derek's trust was shattered. In that charged moment, as the morning light streamed through the windows of their once happy home, he realized that the foundation of their marriage had been irreparably cracked. The confrontation set off a cascade of events that left both their lives in disarray. Over the following days, Derek meticulously gathered every piece of evidence he could find: screenshots, call logs, even a few clandestine photos taken from a distance when Monica met Calvin outside the spa. Each revelation deepened his sense of betrayal, yet also ignited a spark of resolve. Derek met with his longtime friend and lawyer, Samuel Hayes, at a quiet corner cafe in downtown Glenhaven. Samuel, a man in his early 50s with a calm demeanor and a reputation for handling even the most volatile cases, listened intently as Derek recounted every detail. "You've been patient, Derek," Samuel said, his voice low and measured. "But it's clear that trust has been broken. We have enough evidence to proceed with a divorce. And I must warn you, this won't be an easy path. Monica will likely fight tooth and nail to salvage her reputation and her share of your life's work." Derek nodded grimly. "I know. But I can't live in a house built on lies. I need to reclaim who I am." That night, the confrontation reached its apex. In a heated exchange in their living room, where past memories mingled with the present pain, Monica pleaded for forgiveness while Derek's voice trembled with cold resolve. "You used me," he said, each word deliberate and sharp. "Not as a partner, but as a means to an end. I gave up my identity, my habits, everything to be the man you thought you deserved, and for what? So you could chase after someone else." Monica's eyes shone with tears, and for a moment, her defiance crumbled into despair. "I was lost, Derek. I thought I could have it all, your love and the excitement of something new. But I realize now, I lost the one thing that truly mattered." The argument culminated in a mutual decision to separate immediately. In the ensuing days, while Samuel prepared the necessary legal documents, Derek packed his belongings into a single suitcase and moved into a modest apartment. The physical act of leaving their once shared home felt both liberating and agonizing, a tangible severance from a life marred by betrayal. Yet even as Derek tried to forge a new beginning, the ghosts of the past lingered. Late-night phone calls from Monica, desperate and apologetic, threatened to pull him back into the vortex of regret. Every time her voice trembled on the line, Derek's heart wavered, but he held fast to the conviction that some wounds were too deep to heal without time and space. Months turned into a year, and Derek began to rebuild his life piece by piece. He embraced a more balanced lifestyle, not solely dictated by strict regimens or the shadow of Monica's manipulations. Instead, he rediscovered old passions, long hikes in the nearby Blue Ridge Mountains, quiet afternoons at a local art gallery, and even the simple pleasure of reading in his new apartment's small garden. It was during one such sunny afternoon that he met Olivia Rivera, a vivacious 36-year-old freelance writer with a penchant for candid conversation and a smile that seemed to light up even the darkest corners of his past. Their first meeting was serendipitous. Both had sought refuge in a bustling city park, escaping the heat and finding solace beneath the sprawling oak trees. "Your story, it sounds like you've been through a storm," Olivia remarked gently as they sat on a weathered bench. "But sometimes, those storms wash away the old to reveal something new." Derek, still guarded from the scars of his failed marriage, found himself reluctantly drawn to Olivia's warmth. Over time, their conversations deepened from casual banter to revelations of shared pain and hope. Olivia, too, carried the weight of lost trust, her previous relationship having ended in betrayal. Together, they forged a tentative understanding that healing was not linear, and that even shattered hearts could find the courage to love again. Yet, just as Derek began to glimpse a future that promised renewal, whispers from the past resurfaced. One crisp autumn evening, as he sat alone in his apartment reviewing a series of emails from Samuel regarding the final divorce settlement, he received an unexpected message. The email was from Monica. In it, she expressed remorse and detailed a tumultuous journey of self-reflection. She admitted that her affair with Calvin had been a desperate attempt to escape her own insecurities, and she was now seeking professional help to understand the roots of her behavior. Derek's heart wavered as he read her words. Part of him longed to offer forgiveness, to believe that the woman he once loved might have been a victim of her own demons. Yet the bitterness of betrayal was not so easily washed away. Torn between empathy and self-preservation, he forwarded the email to Olivia, seeking guidance and clarity. In a long, heartfelt conversation that stretched deep into the night, Olivia urged him to consider that forgiveness did not mean forgetting, but rather a means of reclaiming his peace. "Your future is not defined by her mistakes," Olivia said softly, her hand reaching out to cover his. "It's defined by the choices you make now." Derek wrestled with his conflicting emotions for weeks. On one hand, the evidence of Monica's past was undeniable, a constant reminder of how deeply trust had been fractured. On the other hand, his compassionate heart recognized that healing was a journey, and sometimes understanding one's pain could pave the way for closure. In the end, Derek chose to let go, not for Monica's sake, but for his own. He decided that the final chapter of that painful era was best closed without reopening old wounds. With the divorce now legally finalized, Derek focused on building a life where he could finally be free to love, without the chains of manipulation or regret. As winter melted into spring, Derek's life blossomed in unexpected ways. His days were filled with the simple joys of morning jogs along the river, spontaneous weekend trips to nearby towns, and the steady companionship of Olivia, who had become his anchor. Together, they discovered that healing was a process of rediscovering oneself, of understanding that every scar told a story, and every mistake paved the way for growth. One balmy evening, as the sun dipped below the horizon and painted the sky in hues of gold and crimson, Derek and Olivia sat on the balcony of his modest apartment. The gentle hum of the city below served as a quiet reminder that life, in all its complexity, went on. Olivia leaned her head on his shoulder, and for a moment, Derek allowed himself to imagine a future free from the ghosts of the past. "Do you ever wonder," Olivia mused softly, "if all of this pain was necessary for us to reach this moment?" Derek smiled, a bittersweet expression that spoke of loss and hope. "Maybe. But I believe every ending makes room for a new beginning." Their conversation drifted into comfortable silence, punctuated only by the occasional chirp of a nightingale. In that moment, Derek realized that the journey ahead, though uncertain, was filled with the promise of redemption. He had learned that true strength was not found in physical transformation alone, but in the courage to confront one's vulnerabilities and embrace the possibility of change. Across town, Monica's life took a different turn. Having faced her own reckoning in therapy and through hard-earned introspection, she began to piece together the remnants of her identity. Though her path was strewn with regret and loneliness, she resolved to learn from her past mistakes. In a quiet corner of a small, sunlit cafe, Monica penned letters of apology, not only to those she had hurt, but also to herself, acknowledging that the road to self-forgiveness was the first step toward real healing. Back in Glenhaven, as the days grew longer and the first blossoms of spring began to emerge, Derek and Olivia planned a modest celebration, a dinner with a few close friends to mark a new beginning. The air was filled with cautious optimism, as if the universe itself was extending a gentle hand to those brave enough to move on. That evening, as laughter and soft music mingled in the warmly lit dining room, Derek took a moment to address the gathering. "Tonight," he began, his voice steady and sincere, "I stand here not as a man defined by past betrayals, but as one who has learned that every hardship carries a lesson. We may all be imperfect, but it's in our imperfections that we find the strength to rebuild and to love again." His words resonated deeply with everyone present. For in that moment, beneath the glow of candlelight and the soft murmur of heartfelt conversation, a new chapter was being written, one where the pain of yesterday would no longer dictate the promise of tomorrow. And so, as the night wore on and the stars shimmered overhead, Derek embraced the unknown with a quiet determination. The shattered remnants of his past had been swept away by the tide of resilience, leaving behind a horizon that, though scarred, was infinitely full of possibility. Dear reader, thank you for joining us on this journey through betrayal, loss, and ultimately, the rebirth of the human spirit. In the interplay of heartache and hope, we discover that every ending is but the precursor to a new beginning. May you find solace in the idea that even shattered horizons can reveal the most beautiful dawns. Feel free to share your thoughts, and know that this tale is dedicated to anyone who has ever had to rebuild their life from the fragments of a broken promise. Thanks so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this story. If you did, please hit the like button and share your thoughts in the comments below. I would love to hear what you think. Your feedback really helps me create better content for you. Don't forget to subscribe so you never miss an update. Thanks again and see you in the next video. Take care.